If all goes according to plan, Donald Trump will arrive at a Manhattan courthouse, have his fingerprints taken. There won't be a mugshot. He will talk to a judge. He will plead not guilty, and he will return home. Somewhat uneventful, despite the fact it's a historical moment with a former president being arrested. I had a fascinating conversation with Charlie Kirk last night on Timcast IRL, where we discussed just how close we are to complete collapse. Now, Charlie disagreed with me for the most part, but he did agree that there is an element of reality to what I'm arguing. And my argument is this. I believe today, and particularly, and I would say by the time you watch this video, it's probably true, that everything went according to plan. Donald Trump flew to New York. Everybody's taking pictures. He goes to the courthouse. He pleads not guilty. He leaves. But I will state it again because it needs to be said. I want you to think about the chain of events that would happen if Donald Trump refuses to surrender. Now, of course, he's already in New York, so by the time you watch this, he probably already did. I want you to think about what happens if a court remands Donald Trump to custody, meaning no bail. Well, the argument, of course, is these are misdemeanors, potentially being upgraded to felonies, but they're nonviolent, so there's no reason to hold Donald Trump. In fact, the funniest thing in this article from Newsweek, they say Trump is not a flight risk. He's not. He literally flew in on his own private jet. So the question for everybody is this. Is this a serious criminal charge or is it political garbage? What's the point? If this was a serious criminal charge against Donald Trump, they would remand him. But it's not. And you know it's not. And I have to wonder. Charlie Kirk pointed out yesterday that on the website 270 to win, Trump needs only 3 states. I think he said Ohio. What did he say? What is it? No, it's Arizona, Georgia, and Michigan, I believe, because these other states, for the most part, due to redistricting, will likely go conservative. So the real battleground will be in 3 states. And if Trump can win there, challenging states to win, that's all he's got to focus on. The question is what New York is doing going to negatively impact Trump or help him? And the reality is it has tremendously helped him. Trump surges in the polls with record $8 million fundraising haul off back of today's 2:15 p.m. indictment as world's media descends on New York City courthouse. So I have to wonder. The reason why they'll likely send him on his way is that this is Alvin Bragg, a district attorney in New York who is making a grave mistake for personal gain and damaging the Democrats' platform to a rather absurd degree. And they're pissed about it. They don't want special treatment. Newsweek reports Donald Trump's special allowance during arrest condemned by lawyer. In the Newsweek article, they say a lawyer is hit out at the special allowance Donald Trump is believed to be receiving during his historic arraignment in New York on Tuesday. Former Deputy Assistant Attorney General Harry Litman was reacting to reports on how the arrest procedure will take place when the former president appears at the Manhattan Criminal Court on Tuesday, where he could face more than 30 charges related to Stormy Daniels' hush money probe. Trump denies wrongdoing. There's been speculation the former president may go through a slightly altered booking process, seeing as his arraignment is unprecedented in U.S. history. Trump is not expected to be handcuffed when he surrenders on Tuesday, nor will he be made to take part in a so-called PERP walk outside the court due to security concerns. But why? Why? If these were serious charges, they wouldn't give him special treatment. They're not serious charges. I mean, serious in terms of the historical weight as to what they're doing right now, but not serious insofar as they don't actually think he did anything wrong. They do not believe Trump committed wrongdoing. This is politics. Now, as I stated, I want you to imagine the chain of events that would occur if Trump refused to surrender and stayed in Florida. I want you to imagine the chain of events that would occur if they do not let Donald Trump leave. Or how about this? They simply say, you can't leave the state. I mean, come on. You got a golden toilet on Fifth Avenue in your Trump Tower. You can live here. What's the problem? Until the conclusion of this trial, stay in the state. When it comes to many crimes, typically, especially what we're talking about here, they make you stay in the state. Depending. If you're on bail, they say don't leave. That's the point of bail. So what happens if they say, no, Trump, you can go back to Florida? And then there's a trial. Trump is convicted or something else happens. He's going to have to show up for this criminal trial and he's going to have to sit there, right? How much time will that take? Is that the point? And Trump is also facing a second indictment from the federal government. His Secret Service agents are set to testify. Yeah, I'm just saying, we are about to witness something unprecedented. And in my view, we are on the precipice or over the edge. The amount of actions that are required for this country to descend into absolute chaos, it's fallen to one. You go back several years and you ask yourself this question, you're like, in order for there to be some kind of serious conflict, you would need A to happen, B to happen, C to happen, D to happen. All of these different circumstances would have to happen. You'd have to have Antifa and the Proud Boys do this. Then you'd have to see the federal government respond this way. Then you'd have to see a president say this. All those things happened. Go back 5 years to what I was talking about, and we've reached the highest level of government where the culture war is now permeating. And the former president of the U.S. for the first time in history is being criminally charged. And what? Now, of course, you may say, yes, but they're giving him special treatment. So what happens next? What happens next? Well, let's talk about where Trump is at. Before we do, my friends, head over to timcast.com, click that join us button, become a member because we are sponsored by you, members. So we got a couple big plans. When you're a member, you get access to our Discord community. You can even call in to the Timcast IRL Uncensored show Monday through Thursday at about 10 p.m. We have the show live. We have call-ins from you, our members. And Friday, we are going to be launching soon. If you guys are the members who are already sponsoring the show, we'll shout you out. So once a week, we will choose one of our members' projects to shout out as a sponsor of the show, because you are when you become a member. I think that's the coolest idea. The idea came from one of our members. So become a member at timcast.com to support our work. Let's read this story from the Daily Mail. They say, New York City will today play host to the biggest show on earth. Trump's arraignment on felony charges relating to hush money payments to a porn star. Now, of course, follow at Timcast News on Twitter. We have a reporter on the ground documenting what is currently happening. He will make his way past protesters who spent the night lining up outside his home. Some had to, come to show their support. Others were there to celebrate the charges. At the courthouse, journalists from around the world lined up through the night to ensure their space in the courtroom. Trump's attorneys say he will speak outside the courthouse before going inside. Then he will speak again afterwards before making his way back to his plane at LaGuardia Airport. The arraignment begins at 2:15 p.m. The indictment, the first against any former U.S. president, has been met with glee among Trump's political enemies and disgust among many Republicans who see it as nothing more than a biased attempt by left-wing prosecutors to stop him from returning to office. And yeah, I think that's the case. I think it's a combination of factors. I think it's desperation. I think it's fear. I think it's panic. And I think it's political opportunity. The case has bolstered support among his diehard donors and fans. In Massachusetts and New Hampshire, Trump now leads main rival Ron DeSantis. And here we go. This is a story that came out last night. Trump to be charged Tuesday with 34 felony counts, but spared handcuffs and mugshot. I just don't get it. Explain to me how someone can be charged with 34 felonies and they say, you're free to go, sir. Special treatment, I guess. That's what we can expect. And I guess it's what we can hope for, considering the seriousness of what's going on. But again, if they remand Trump to custody, this country just falls apart overnight, just completely overnight. Here's the plan. At 10:30 a.m., Trump will leave Trump Tower with Secret Service escort, likely travel down Fifth Avenue and head down to his 11 a.m. 11 a.m., arriving at the criminal courthouse, where he's escorted into the side entrance. Mass security, protesters, and supporters outside. At 11:10 a.m., Trump is booked and processed. He hands over his personal belongings, fingerprints taken, but mugshot is unlikely. Personal details like name, date of birth are taken. Then, at 2:15 p.m., Trump will appear in court. A hearing before Judge Juan Merchan to last 15 to 30 minutes. Trump pleads not guilty to all charges. At 3 p.m., the Trump motorcade escorts Trump to LaGuardia Airport. He departs for Palm Beach aboard Trump Force One. At 8:15, Trump will give an address from Mar-a-Lago. So, of course, we will be live at youtube.com/TimcastIRL covering Donald Trump's response to this frivolous, in my opinion, these frivolous criminal charges, clearly political criminal charges. A new chapter in American history will be written today when Trump becomes the first former U.S. president to appear in court facing criminal charges. Now, we have some polls. The important context here. CNN conducted the poll. How big a role do you think politics played in the decision to indict Trump? 52% polled by CNN said it played a major role. 60% of Democrats say it played a major role. 78% of independents and 93% of Republicans. It is there staring everyone in the face, and they know it. Independent voters, 78%, according to CNN, say this is political. How will these people respond to what's going on? I really don't know. How do you respond to knowing that they are using law enforcement for political purposes to come at you? That's the scary reality. Eric Adams addresses Trump supporters ahead of arraignment. Control yourselves. New York City is our home, not a playground for your misplaced anger. These people are psychopaths. I can't stress it enough. They are deranged, hypoxic, and destroying this country. I'm not a diehard conservative. Never been. I just am of sound mind. Eric Adams telling Trump supporters to control themselves? Where? Who? The small handful that are outside Trump Tower? What are you talking about? When have we seen Trump supporters and conservatives do anything like Antifa? Oh, that one time. That one time, January 6th. You know, and it was not even necessarily like Antifa, targeting a government building with riots on one side of the building and peaceful protests on the other. That's funny. Not a good look, not good actions, and the people who are violent should be criminally charged. It should be the J6 cases need to be taken care of more properly. Don't get me wrong. Some of these people are effectively being tortured. But you know, one thing I will say is the stupidest mistake Trump supporters ever made was January 6th. And that's what many conservative commentators and libertarians and disaffected liberals have been trying to say to Trump supporters over and over again. And let it be clear so you can understand it right now. These people are deranged. Eric Adams, they're psychotic. They're evil. Some know exactly what they're doing. January 6th gave them their holy grail, and they need nothing else ever again. You see, the problem was, for the longest time, Antifa and the far left were extremely violent and destroying everything. And they knew that regular Americans were getting fed up with it. They knew regular Americans were negatively impacted by it. And they said, how do we make Trump supporters the bad guys? January 6th. They got what they wanted. Now you can call it a conspiracy, whatever you want. Trump supporters did it. Trump supporters showed up. Now, of course, we know for a fact there were police there yelling, keep going, go farther, things like that. We have questions about Ray Epps advocating for certain actions, telling people to go inside the building. But either way, Trump supporters gave Democrats everything they needed to inflame their zombie horde. And that's it. That's it. I told you the story this weekend. I had a guy tell me that he thought the J6 defendants should be executed. He said it a bit more crudely than that. But yeah, he called for their execution. And this was a regular guy who hated Joe Biden. So good luck. Good luck. That's the problem of January 6th. And that's why we say, do not play that game. We are not talking, like, there's a lot of people who are like, but how do we do when they're arresting Trump? What do we, dude? We are not at the point where Democrats are taking trucks, loading people into trucks from their home. Okay, we're not at the point where we're in active civil war in terms of hot street level conflict every day. We may be at the point of hot civil war with things like Aaron Danielson being shot twice in the chest and Antifa setting fire to buildings and things like that. We may be approaching it. But we're not at the point of hot civil war in the sense that there is a desperate attempt at multi-factional control of one government. We are currently at the destabilization phase, the precursor to full-scale hot civil war. Call it a cold civil war, whatever you want. What the last thing anybody needs is for more these evil psychopaths to be able to weaponize what you do. You see, here's the challenge for them. They need villains. The problem is Antifa are the villains. The people smashing up businesses, it's far left. That's why people are flocking to Texas and Florida. So what do? Well, they desperately want Trump supporters to get violent, which may be why they're criminally charging Trump. They're trying to do everything in their power to feign acting within the law and goad and provoke Trump supporters into giving them a second January 6th. And, some people might be stupid enough to do it. Many Trump supporters fear a false flag, that they'll just have people dress up like Trump supporters and do something anyway, and that's all they got to do. Perhaps. In terms of reality, in terms of discussing anything with any conservative person, we know this is nonsense. Control yourselves, Trump supporters, from what? What's going to happen? Nothing, really, unless they fake it. In this tweet from Eric Erickson, he says, Democrats charged Tom DeLay based on campaign finance allegations. Charged Rick Perry over a veto threat. They're now charging Donald Trump tied to federal campaign violations. Democrats weaponized the prosecutorial system against Republicans repeatedly. Sure. And here's Jesse Kelly, who says, let me zoom in here. He says, not one Republican DA in the entire country has announced impending charges against a major Democrat. Not one. We will never win until the low T GOP starts hitting back ever. We give the communists zero incentive to stop or even slow down. Pathetic. Jesse Kelly more than hits the nail on the head. Republicans are weak. I'm sick of it. I'm absolutely sick of it. I know you are. That's why you voted for Trump in the first place. First time around. Republicans are weak, low T, pathetic. Where is any Republican doing anything? Any Republican doing anything? Come on. These nonprofits operate in all your states. We know these big Democrat nonprofits operate in your states. We know Act Blue and Democrat fundraising operates in your states. How have you not done anything to stop these crimes? Because Republicans are weak. The one thing Republicans should be doing, using law enforcement and the rule of law, they don't do. So not only do you have Republicans who don't protest, when they do, it's a trap and the Democrats get everything they want. And then Republican leadership does literally nothing. That's where we're currently at. Where are the local Republicans? Where are the Republican district attorneys to do what Alvin Bragg is doing? How has Hillary Clinton not been charged with anything? The Clinton Foundation, I'm sure, is filed to operate in every state, giving jurisdiction to any one of these red states. Because they're low T. That's the way it puts it. Low testosterone. Weak, effeminate, scared losers. That's the Republican Party. And that's why it's funny when people are like, vote Republican. I'm like, oh, okay. So I can have some low T guy be like, well, slow down there, Democrats. And then Democrats are like, we're going to criminally charge a former president for the first time in history. And Democrats are going to be like, we're going to bail out murderous rioters who killed around 30 people in the summer of love. That's what they're doing. Meanwhile, what are Republicans doing? Slow down there, Democrats, wagging their finger. Oh, no, they're firebombing police cars again. How wonderful. Yeah. I'll believe in the stability of this country when we get an actual MAGA party, and that's what they're scared of. That's why they want to arrest Donald Trump. For one, like I said, they want Trump supporters to act a fool. That's what they need. They need Trump supporters to go crazy. But, they don't want someone like Donald Trump to actually create pushback. For the longest time, the Republican Party has been just this frail and pathetic, we follow the rules. And then Democrats beating you over the head with a big club. That's why I never care. Look, you go back in time, Republicans were just moralist trash. Today, you have an opportunity for, like Mitt Romney was also then like the low T era of Republican Party. It's been spineless. You look at George W. Bush, that's a moralist trash. I mean, the war in Iraq and all that stuff, self-gain, just awful. And the UTA party wants the same thing. Jesse Waters made the point. Trump wants to stop the war in Ukraine, and he gets indicted. You look at Ron DeSantis, he came out against it, then he flipped his, he turned around on that one. That's right. Because they want war. It's what they want. They don't want what Donald Trump has to offer the American people. A sound economy, security, manufacturing, secure borders, and no war. That's what Trump offers. Aside from being a potty mouth. But you know what? Maybe we need someone to just tell them to shove it. We'll see how this goes. I will be tracking the case as it happens today. I think it'll go according to plan, but I don't know for sure, so we'll see. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all then.